Okay, next video. We just drained the oil and tightened the drain plug with a to 20 foot-pounds with a drain plug washer right there. Not all engines are 20 foot-pound drain plug torque spec. Some are higher, some are lower. 20 is kind of the minimum. Usually they're somewhere between 20 and 30, but they would not be less than 15 or more than 25 or more than 30 usually. And again, that's something you can look up on a workshop repair manual system like ShopKey Pro or Mitchell On Demand, and then you can also sometimes just Google it. Now we're going to clean up under here a little bit because it gets a little bit wet under here, and we don't want to leave anything dripping because then people will feel like we messed up the job because there's drips. We don't want anyone to think get the wrong idea. So we clean up after ourselves, and the oil filter is right there. So I have to reach up in there and turn that oil filter. It is going to be wet. There is going to be some oil coming out. Not as much as when I drained the engine, but there's definitely going to be some oil coming out. I'm going to position this light here so you guys can kind of see what I'm going to be doing. There we go. Kind of a nice lighting right there. And that's it. This is the new filter, so you can get a sense of what that looks like. That's that right there. So the first thing you want to try to do is with something protecting your arms from hot exhaust, because that's the exhaust and that can be pretty hot. And this is kind of, I need to keep this close, but doesn't need to be like right underneath me. And I need to try to angle my camera so that you guys can see this. Let's see here. Okay, that's a little hard to see, but it is possible to see it right back there. That's it. So that is the oil filter right there. All right. So I'm going to reach up in there and try to turn it. This is a little bit hard to do without having a camera person here, but I'm going to give it a shot. Maybe I'll come from here. If you need to lower the car down, you can lower the car down. In case you're shorter than me or you're taller, you need to raise it up. And that's going to be a little bit of tricky. I should probably take my watch off. This is sometimes the hardest part of the job. To get all yourself up in there, but it is turning, okay? So I was able to turn it counterclockwise, and you can see it right up in there. If I can get this camera right up there, you can see it, and it is turning. Now it's going to start to leak. So I got to get this close, and I'm going to raise it up again. Remember, this is my tightening knob here. Raise it up again. And if this doesn't work, then you can use an oil filter wrench. Now here you can see it's leaking now. Let's see what my view is. There we go. There's my view. Okay, reaching up in here, continue to unspin it. What I like to do is actually open it a little bit and let most of the fluid drain out of it. Let it kind of do its draining, and then I go back in and get the rest of it. Unscrew the rest of it. So there is the old filter right here. You can see the old filter. Now there's oil in there, and we're going to dump this upside down right here. And we're going to let this drain overnight. Okay, we're gonna let this drain overnight. Right here, dump that upside down and let that drain overnight like that. And that is where the new filter is gonna go. So we can put the new filter on. And the way that we do that is we take it. You wanna lubricate this seal right here. This is standard procedure. Yeah, I'm going to say you can use used oil or new oil to lubricate the seal. You can put a little bit of oil on your finger just like that. You can see that. I'm going to lubricate this seal. Instructions for how tight to make it are written on the side of it, which is right here in pictures. Basically, after this rubber gasket contacts the engine, you want to go about another 1 full turn. That can be hard, and they do make oil filter wrenches. They're mostly used for, you're also supposed to drain, you're also supposed to wipe off the surface of the engine where that goes. So I'm gonna wipe that off. Inspect that one more time. I'm going to put this on, screw it on. It should go on easily without any trouble, but again, getting it screwed on there can be a little bit of a trick. And you just got to take it easy. It should go on so smoothly and easily. If it doesn't, you either have it on crooked or it's the wrong filter, which happens. They give you the wrong filter sometimes. So now that has kind of just contacted the engine right there. And now I need to get it one more full turn. I don't really need these anymore. If these are considered hazardous waste when they're wet. If they're dry, because you've dried them off really well with a rag, which this is, now you can put these in the trash. These are expensive to get rid of when they're wet, and we can't put them in the trash because it's hazardous waste. But if they're dry, then we can put them right in the trash. If they're wet with fluid, just dry them off until you can safely put them in the trash. And now I need to get that nice and tight. Sometimes what I tell students is just get it as tight as you can with your hands, and that should be good. Never changed the oil in this car before. There we go. So now I am tightening that as tight as I can get it with my hand. If you need to use an oil filter wrench, you can, but be careful that you don't over tighten it. And it helps to have somebody with some experience to do this with you the first 2 or 3 times that you do it. Also, YouTube is very helpful for learning how to do this. So I'm pretty happy with how tight that is. There was some oil that dripped around, and that can continue to drip onto the ground after we're done with the car. And again, people can think that you made a mistake. Some people really don't like to see dripping. So that's why we're gonna clean up and make sure that we didn't leave any oil that can drip later and cause somebody to kind of be really concerned or something like that. So that's all set. That's all good. Let me get this out of here. And there's some safety checks we do before we say we're done to make sure that that filter is not leaking and to make sure that this drain plug is not leaking, and check some other things, and we'll do that in the next video.